So my name is Julius Stock, and I am a teacher with Eve University. I've been with the university about 3 years off and on, and have been a teacher for a couple of months now. This class is Introduction to Industry, and the purpose of this class is going to be to cover the fundamentals of what industry is, how it contributes to the EVE economy and to player activities, and how it in general helps you to play the game.
Warp drive active.
A little bit about myself. I am a industrialist myself. I make quite a bit of varied products, and I'm a member of a small, you can call them a cabal, of players operating out of Solitude who are engaged in producing materials for an upcoming launch of Market Hub. So what we've done is we've coordinated together to make sure that we're all able to cover some segment of the market and produce materials to sell in that market. Basically, we want to cover as much of that as possible so that, you know, everybody who comes to that station finds a ready supply of everything they're looking for in one place. Getting into industry is something that you can get into for a fairly low investment. The biggest thing that it takes is time. So, what is industry? Well, more than anything,
Warp drive active.
industry is simply defined as the activity in which you either create materials, alter materials, or you create something else or move things around. You're basically engaging with material culture. I find this personally very interesting because in my real life I'm a trained archaeologist, and I spent 4 years studying what people make, do, and think that contributes to the material culture of the world. So when I found that I could do this in game, I found that immediately interesting. Anything involving industry is going to rely upon blueprints in a way that is defined as an industrial activity, in the same way that you would experience it if you were operating in the real world and you wanted to build a house. Well, first you need plans. Key activities defined in the industrial area are refining, planetary interaction, hauling, research and development, and manufacturing. Now, these primary breakdowns have their own skill sets and they have their own processes which have to be observed in order to do it effectively, and to get an end product that you can use. And the thing with these is that they all contribute to a lot of the same end products. So the materials that you mine have to be hauled back to a station and processed, refined. From there, those materials will go into a blueprint to build something. However, a lot of blueprints require materials that come from, or plans and parts that come from research and development and planetary interaction. So you can't manufacture if you don't have everything you need to build. So each of these activities is complicated in and of itself and contain their own sub-activities. I'm now going to give a brief overview of these activities, including a touch on what some of the sub-activities they have are, as well as recommended EVE Uni classes that will give you more information on those topics. Some of these classes I'll be running in the next few weeks, so do keep your eye on the calendar and on the posted scheduled classes in the forums.
Docking permission requested.
Starting with mining.
Docking request accepted.
Mining is where you get out in a ship, fly in range of an object, and activate a module on it to contain, which contains certain minerals you're looking for, and you begin the process of extracting those minerals. Mining includes ore, ice, moon, and gas cloud mining. Each player in EVE starts out with the basic skills required to mine ore in a newbie ship, and if you do your first couple of classes, the missions that you can take from any starting system agent, you get a venture as a new ship pretty much for free. You'll get a civilian mining laser on your noob ship as well. So while you can initially start by just mining rocks from your noob ship, the yields that you will get will be at a baseline useful if you're using a venture. So if you are absolutely new to the game and you picked it up maybe this morning and just started playing, one of the very first things you should do if you're interested in industry is go to your local station, pick up a couple of industrial missions, and get yourself a venture. Any questions at this point? Okay, moving on. If you put time, effort, skill points, and money into developing this career path, specifically money, it can become an extremely lucrative, if in the opinion of some, boring means of creating income. If you ever hear the term Care Bear in game, typically that's referring to people who don't have a developed kill board, who aren't interested in or aren't actively pursuing PvP, but who spend most of their time making money either mining or engaging in other activities, whether it be station trading or other ISK generating ventures. But mining is by far the most steady trickle income that you can have, in the sense of, for the time you put in, you get money out, and depending on what you're mining and how good your skills are, you will get a higher return. But your ranges of what you can make are pretty well known. If you want more information on this topic, your next class should be Mining 101. One of these was just announced on the calendar. In fact, I believe it's being taught 3 more times by Perigo Brazier, and you should check that class out. The next step in that industrial chain is refining. So once you've gone out and you've taken your mining lasers and you've broken up some rocks and you've collected those ores, they have to be reprocessed down into minerals. And the Mining 101 class covers what the different types of rocks are and what the minerals are that you'll get out of them. But refining is the action of taking those mined objects and turning them into minerals that you can actually use for building stuff. In the same way that you would break down iron ore and make steel by adding carbon to it under extreme heat. The same process takes place in stations, citadels, or player-owned starbases. Ore refining creates minerals which are used for production, and ice refining creates isotopes and other materials which are used to fuel a POS, a capital ship, or jump drives. Gas is not refinable, but it is used in the creation of boosters and T3 items. So if you are somebody who's interested in higher tier manufacturing, making more complicated objects which sell for more money, you will eventually, at some point, probably end up exploring gas huffing. For more information on this topic, your next class should be Refining 101, and there will be some of those coming soon. Planetary interaction is the means by which you extract material goods from planets that are used in the creation of either POS fuels or structures, SOV structures, or items which go into creating modules and build materials for more complicated structures. A good example of this is everybody is familiar with both the mobile tractor unit and the mobile depot. These are small anchorable items that you can drop in space. You cannot build those items without materials and complex items created from PI materials. Planetary interaction is often just shortened to PI, and a lot of people know it that way. This class is actually going to be followed by a PI 101 class, so stay tuned. Now, the one thing that is a bit of a barrier for entry into PI is that it can be potentially very expensive, even though it doesn't take a lot of time to manage. Once you get your planet set up, really you can manage it in as little as 5 to 15 minutes a day, or even just once a week. It depends on how invested you are in it and how much you want to get out of it, in the same way as mining. If you have any questions, please feel free to speak up as I pause at the end of each section, or put your questions in lecture.e-uni. Okay. Not seeing any questions. Good to go. Excellent. So, you've gone and you've mined, you've refined, and you've dug up stuff from planets. Maybe you've put together some plants and animals, made some nanites, and you have stuff to take to market or to start manufacturing into greater items. Well, the first thing that you have to do is you have to get them to a common place, which means hauling. Hauling is simply the transportation of items from one point to another. While hauling is usually done for personal reasons, some players and even whole corporations specialize in the movement of goods. If you're in game right now, I would highly advise that you go to your people and places and type in Black Frog. There are 3 different frog organizations, Black Frog, Red Frog, and is it Green Frog? I forget the other one. But Black Frog is your jump freighter transport. These are the guys who move goods in very high volumes across great distances in space, and they do it by using jump freighter technology, which is the highest class of non-combat capital ship that you can get. They're also the most expensive to run, and some jump freighters, depending on where you buy them in space, can cost more than 8 to 13 billion. So they're very expensive ships, but they have the added advantage of, while they have a slightly smaller cargo hold than standard haulers, they can cross distances of approximately 10 to 15 light years in a single jump. And that distance is not limited by number of stargates that you go through. It's absolute Cartesian distance. It's, if I'm going from Stackmon to Vakoti, it's one jump instead of 15 gates. The hauling industry is very well developed, and there's a lot of corporations that you can, if you graduate off from Eve University, go and join, and there are hauling services within Eve University provided to its members. The LSC, for example, has a free hauling service to and from nearby locations to help players move to that campus. Other campuses have similar services. Sally Digital, who is sort of the de facto head for Solitude, operates a regular high-to-high jump freighter service for people looking to get into Solitude. And if you're interested, it's a great way to make money. People will often offer up courier contracts that allow you the opportunity to go to and from space. If you want to learn more about hauling and learning about all the different sizes of ships and how you can make money doing it and the dangers involved in that job, you're definitely going to want to check out Hauling 101. So you've hauled everything to the same place. Now you want to go and make something. Well, to a certain degree, you may just have a quote-unquote store-bought plan, a blueprint you've picked up from a NPC trader in a station. And you can tell the difference between player items for sale and NPC seeded items, because NPC seeded items will always have a expires date on their items for sale of greater than 90 days. If you see something being sold and it's fewer than 90 days remaining, then it's a player selling that item. A good thing to watch for are traps that you can run into, where somebody will be offering a higher volume of an item that may be for sale, but it's, say, 5 or 6 jumps away, just inside nullsec or just inside lowsec. They may have more of that item and be charging a higher price for it, but usually that's a lure to get industrial players and poorly tanked ships out into space where they can get blown up. So do be careful when you're engaging in purchasing stuff for your needs in industry. So then you've got your blueprint and you've done your work of getting all your materials together. Well, first you need to either have a blueprint on hand or research a blueprint so that you can develop those goods. And research and development is all about working with those blueprints. There's many different kinds of things you can do with blueprints, such as copying, production efficiency research, material efficiency research. Both of those things are about taking your blueprint and making it so that you can be more efficient at making that thing, either in terms of how much time it takes to produce it or how many materials it takes. Reverse engineering and also manufacturing. Manufacturing being, of course, the end goal of any blueprint. For more information on this topic, there are a lot of different classes available. For copying, production efficiency research, material efficiency research, your next class should be Research 101. For invention, you should take Invention 101. And for manufacturing, you should take Manufacturing 101. Reverse engineering is a highly advanced topic and is covered under Tech 3 production. Reverse engineering is something that you will get into if you want to make like your T3D destroyers and you want to make higher level items. The more complicated something is, typically the more steps that are involved and the more products. And higher level productions can be very expensive in terms of time investment and basic S costs, but it can also be extremely lucrative. Otherwise, nobody would be doing it. Manufacturing itself is the method by which you take some basic ingredients and turn them into a finished product, which can then be used, sold, or used as ingredients for other manufacturing jobs. Manufacturing, in most cases, is the king of industry. It's how most people who do industry make their money. While there's a lot of money to be made doing planetary interaction just by itself, producing goods for other industrialists that are then going to be turning around and turning it into a finished product, and you can make very, very good money doing PI, depending on where you're doing it and what you're doing. It's not the be-all end-all, it's just a single step in the chain. So most people who do make money in industry will make the most money doing manufacturing, that is to produce items and sell them directly to the player base. And these items themselves may just be used, sold, or used as ingredients in other manufacturing jobs. For example, if you ever want to build a T2 frigate, you always need a T1 frigate of that same hull type before you can even start, and somebody built that hull. Manufacturing, in most cases, will also lead you to running the gamut between a single round of ammunition all the way up to creating whole stations in nullsec space. For more information on this topic, you definitely want to attend the Manufacturing 101 class. So during this class, we've talked at basically an overview level about what industry is, defined what the career choices under it are, and looked at some of the options available to you. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask them now verbally or in lecture.e-uni chat channel. Okay, thank you for joining me for this class.
Thank you.